Okay, this is János and the channel is Reword Audio, and I'm going to tell you this is my most important video ever on loudspeakers. And this applies for all of you at any level in your audio journey with any knowledge. If you don't know about speaker building at all, you don't know about tweaking at all, you don't want to do that, this video is for you. If you are a master tweaker, master builder, maybe you are designing your own speakers, this video is for you, for all of you. So what is this thing of grave importance that I'm telling about loudspeakers? And that pertains to the quest that all of us are looking for, the perfect loudspeaker. And I had already gazillions of advice, and you know also loads of things how to approach this subject, that it's really key to have your loudspeaker match your room well, and also match your amplifier well, and the rest of your system well. So it's kind of like a juggling act. But you need to get to this level first. But what's next? How you can obtain the absolute best? And my answer is you cannot. It's going to be a constant journey, like the pilgrim walking his pilgrimage, and it's just never stopping. As long as you are breathing, the journey goes on. And there will be new things that you are hearing, and I can guarantee that each new thing, each different technology, each different idea that is done at a very high level, it's going to bring something to you which you will find superior compared to what you have. However, there is no such thing as perfect technology, and it cannot be, because the material that we are listening to, the way they were recorded, the venues they were recorded at, they are so vastly different that there is no single type, single kind of loudspeaker that will present everything in the way that you want to hear it. And I could say, like, go at this subject from the perspective of perfection, but it's bullshit, because there is no such thing as objective perfection in sound. It's all about subjectivity. Objectivity counts only for a manufacturer to be able to compare product A to product B, or to make sure that his production runs are within tolerance. But apart from that, it means nothing, because it applies to an ideal situation, and then when you change the situation, change rooms, change music, etc., the whole thing changes. And whatever you set in stone for a situation in a situation B, it does not apply anymore. And you say, yeah, it applies more or less, and that's the key, more or less. So what is my special advice? I have not given it yet. This is just the blah 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 in front of the special advice. And the special advice is that once you are at a level that you have a speaker that you really love, and you find another loudspeaker that you hear it's as it is better than what you have, my advice is, do not exchange your current speaker for the new speaker. Keep both. Keep your current speaker, because what you will experience, that your new speaker has sides, has aspects that you like much more better. But after listening to maybe hundreds of songs, you will notice that there's some of the songs, or maybe a group of the songs or music, that you notice that I am missing something. Yeah, my brain tells me that maybe I have better clarity, better imaging, better bass or high frequency response, or something that I can quantify, but I fear that something is missing that I had before. And that's when your old speaker, your previous speaker, comes to play. So when you have these moments and you are having more and more of them, you are realizing that, oh, I have a stash. You can stash this music where you have this longing, feeling of longing happening, into a separate pile from your other music that now you love listening to your new speakers. have the old pile separate, and after a while, after like half a year, switch your speakers back, switch your old speaker back, and start listening to the pile of music that now you are not listening to because it doesn't sound the way you are used to and you don't like how it sounds. And now you will love the sound again. And you will always feel that this is an improvement. So your system is stepping up, even though you are with all your thoughts, all your knowledge, you are stepping down with your speakers, but it will feel, wow, it's improving, because there are aspects which are not as good with my new speakers. Now I can enjoy them, and you will have a blast by listening to these music that are really synergistic with that loudspeaker. And listen to it for a month, a few months, and after that, change it back to your other speakers and listen to the other music that now you haven't been listening to. And wow, you will feel, oh, what a big improvement. My sound has improved by so much. And then you can listen to a few months and then change back again. And then you will again have this feeling that my system has improved because I'm listening to those music I haven't. And you can do this forever and ever and have two pairs of speakers and maybe randomly just swap between the two. So like have a few months listening to one and a few months listening to the other. And that will keep you happy forever, and that will prevent boredom, because no matter how good your speakers are, after a while your hearing, your brains, you just get so used to it that even if it's the best speaker in the world, you will crave for diversity. And the issue is not with perfection or how good it is diversity. You want to hear something different after a while. Even if at the moment when you get those speakers, you feel that I want to listen to this forever. But if you listen only to that, you will be bored. After 5-10 years, you will be bored and you will not appreciate them to their full extent, because that's all you hear. And then going back to your other speakers, even if in general it's a big step back, if you listen to that and let your ears adjust to a lower level of sound, when you go back to your main speakers, you will appreciate them all the more, because you know and you can appreciate that big difference that they bring. And you will be able to learn again their sound, to explore the aspects of the sound, to really get it, what it is that they bring to the table. And I give you guys one example for that. So as you know, I have those Mirage speakers, and they've been sitting in my living room forever because I didn't find any other place where to put them. And of course I just put them in and listen to them. And when I do that, I'm quite happy. They're really, really nice sounding speakers, and it's just great. And they also work even though they are low efficiency, relatively low, like 89 dB per watt meter. That's lowish in my book. For some people, that's already, wow, nice. But compared to high and ultra high efficiency speakers, that's really like diving to the bottom of the lake. But even regardless of that, even with my flea power amp and like having like 3 watts driving 89 dB, for me it does a awesome job, and I don't need any more volume at all. I can do like Cranberries concerts and things like that. But now just a little side note, that if you think you can plug any 1, 2 or 3 dB, 3 watt per meter, 3 watt per channel amplifier to any 89 dB loudspeaker, and you can enjoy a Cranberries concert without distortion, you are gravely mistaken. Because the problem with flea power amplifiers on the market today is that the power supply that you get with them is also flea size. And if you want flea power to work, you need flea power amplification stage, with a full-blown power supply. So for example, in my case, the power supply for my flea power amp, which can deliver 1.2 watts per channel to my 16 ohm Altex, and it can deliver about 3 watts to the 6 ohm Mirages. That tiny amp has a power supply that could serve a 3, 4, 500 watt amplifier. So so basically it has enough juice, enough food to feed an orchestra. And then if you just have a lower wattage power stage, it means that your peak volume will not be so high, but you are not going to run out of dynamic capabilities. And when you have that, you will surprise realize that even hard metal and really like punk rock and stuff like that, which even if you put like a regular 3, 4, 500 watt amp with a low efficiency speaker, I never ever heard a mainstream amplifier where you could play Cranberries right without distortion, and it was just an assumption among audiophile circles that you must not listen to Cranberries because it's recorded as crap. No, it's recorded beautifully, and if your amplifier can render the dynamic contrast, it has a power supply that can give the juice, then even those few watts will give me. So for example, this case, my flea power amp with the Mirage can give a Cranberries recording, plays it back the same way that I remember when I was in the college years, university years, and we had the university club, and my friend, he had a nice like a fusion jazz band, and after his concert there was a punk rock band playing, and they went at it at the club, and the atmosphere, the feeling that I have is the same with the flea power amp driving the 89 dB per watt meter Mirages. Of course I cannot crank it to blow up my eardrums, but I don't need to crank it that high to get an amazing live experience. I can listen to it at a volume that does not make my ears bleed, and for me that's perfect. So yeah, so that's why I can, if I want to, enjoy even those speakers. And then when I went to the Altex, the voice of Lancelot's, after that it's like, wow, what a big difference. And then I've been using the Lancelot's for voice of Lancelot's for 2 years almost, and in the meanwhile I gave the Mirages to my buddy so he can listen to them. It was there for like a year or year and a half, and then when he returned it to them and I went back to them, the change, like, which was like from the Mirage to the voice of Lancelot, felt like stepping up 5 steps. But then from the voice of Lancelot going to the Mirage felt like an endless jump. That was the difference between quality was so big that I could not take it anymore. I realized that even if I tweak it further, it's impossible to tweak it at that level that I can coexist with that as a second speaker. So sometimes these two speakers, the difference between them, you will realize only when you try to return back to your previous speaker. And that's when you realize that the jump from there to here was not just those 5 steps you thought, but it was a much steeper jump. And that's why when we have this progression for loudspeakers or audio systems, that you go from higher, what you perceive as higher, when you step up, it doesn't seem as much compared to when you are stepping down. And that's why people say, who do not have higher level systems, that the difference is really tiny, I can barely hear that. But once you get used to that seemingly tiny difference, if you have to go back that's not tiny anymore. It feels like you're losing the ground from your feet, and you just can't exist with that anymore. So it's a learning experience. The brain is an analog computer that needs teaching, that needs learning. And that's why this audio journey is so complicated, and people who are giving you experience so hard to read them, because it all depends on you. This journey is about you, not about the speakers, not about the sound system, about you, that how we are improving our hearing skills and the skills of our brains to process what we are hearing. And so now I'm seemingly contradicting myself that in this case, I have these two speakers and I cannot go back to the mirage anymore. So that's part of your journey. Sometimes you are realizing that the difference between two pairs of loudspeakers is just so big that you cannot make that shift anymore. And then what is it that you need for this situation? You need for this situation is something that's not so different in the level, but closer to the level, just have a different flavor, a different approach to the sound, maybe like a different technology. And in that case, even though you feel like, okay, it's not as good anymore, but it presents a group of music in a very different way. So for example, now that's what is happening with me when I compare the voice of Lancelot with my void pipes, where I have the cube audio drivers. And they have this ability that they present music in a different way, so that when I switch between the two of them, it's not about I can listen only one and the other is unlistenable, but where I have some preferences which I prefer in one and preferences which I prefer with the other. Or it's not just that, but it's different moods. So you will notice when you have really good speakers that play at the highest level where you are at now. So both of them, you can say, okay, these are both really, really high levels. And then the real trick with them is that you will notice that depending on how you feel, what you want to hear, what you want to listen to, then you have a choice for that. You can choose for yourself. And I think when you are at a stage where you have a really developed system and really developed hearing, really developed skills of how to hear music, and it's not just about the sound qualities, that do I hear like microdynamics, or do I hear like phase or something like that. It's also about music. So like when you listen to a Mozart symphony, how can you, what do you get from it? It's just like someone just going and conducting a bunch of people and there's a bunch of noise going in? Or can you like identify like groups of musicians playing different themes, different tunes, and you can hear like some violinists doing something else than the others? Can you pick out the tone of the violins and all those things that tell you about the music, about what is coming from the music, so that you know more about it, you have a fuller experience, fuller appreciation about music and not just sound. So when that happens, that's when you will notice that each loudspeaker, each system has its own way of presenting music to you. And it's like each conductor has his own way of conducting an orchestra. And there's no such person as the best conductor ever. And like the same person who conducts Karl Orff, the best way that I feel that I can get the most of Karl Orff will not be the same conductor who conducts Vivaldi to in that fashion that you feel that you are getting most of Vivaldi. Or you can go like Tchaikovsky or maybe Schoenberg or others, each of them requires a very different personality to conduct it. And the same thing with loudspeakers. When you have a very high level loudspeaker, you will always notice that even at any level, you don't need very high level loudspeaker. Any loudspeaker in the world has its own personality. And the difference between a low level and high level loudspeaker is that the high level loudspeaker has a good personality, something like a personality of an opera singer. So like they know how to intonate, they know how to sing, they have the volume, the capacity, but they also have the capacity to sing like very quietly. So they have a dynamic range to their performing art. And they have a mastery of understanding the piece that they are singing. They can put their heart, their soul into the music. And when you have a low level singer singing the same piece, they are not in full control of their vocal cords. They don't have the dynamic range. They don't have the difference between the quiet pieces and loud pieces. Maybe they don't understand the music, they don't know it, and they sing everything at a similar volume. They are struggling to read the score, that type of thing. And this is what carries over into loudspeakers in the refinement level. And there's a loose correlation between refinement and price as well, but and that's loose because price often goes for the looks of the loudspeaker and how to sell it, or the marketing, or something like that. But anyway, I think I shared what I wanted to share, is that having two pairs of loudspeakers is really a way to keep you much happier, because in a best case scenario, when you have two which are similar, perceived similar for your hearing, in your system, in your room, then you can have two different sets of music, one being optimal for one set, the other being optimal for the other set. And when you keep on rotating them, you have diversity in your life to make you happy. And in a worst case scenario, when you shift from one to the other, then you will be able to appreciate, when you shift back, all those advantages that your better loudspeaker gives to you. And it will really increase your levels of satisfaction too much. So it's kind of like when you have this scenario of like really good speaker and really junky speaker, it's like an experience like with food. So if you are eating your favorite food every day, even if it's your favorite food, imagine after 5 years every day eating the same thing, then it will be just bored to, I mean really bored. You will want, you are craving something different, and then you just need to eat a different food. And when you eat the different food, then you realize, oh geez, this, yeah, it's different, but it just tastes so bad, I can't take it, and I want to go back to my favorite food. And when you go back to your favorite food after that bad experience, now you start appreciating it. And that's my advice. So let me know what you think of it, and enjoy your audio journey. Please like and subscribe. Bye bye.